Hi guys, Bump here, bringing you the Unholy Death Knight Shadowlands pre-patch guide. Today we'll take a look at the changes that comes with us in the pre-patch. We're going to look at what the optimal talents are, the best rotations, best stats, Azerite, essences, as well as trinkets. It's going to be everything you need to know in order to play the Unholy Death Knight optimally in the Shadowlands pre-patch. First of all, changes. We've got 3 new abilities available to us in PvE. First of all, Unholy Pact, new talent. This is pretty much health chains with an added strength buff to it. It's quite versatile, very good talent, but not too exciting honestly. We got Lichborn becoming baseline, here it is. This gives us a small amount of leech as well as immunity to a couple of CC effects. Very useful for dodging abilities in Mythic Plus and in raids, as well as gaining a little bit more survivability. Finally, Anti-Magic Zone used to be PvP talent as well. This is now baseline, 20% DR to your raid or party for magical defense. This is insanely good, and is going to be the reason that a lot of Death Knights are brought as a kind of base thing. You need a Death Knight to gain that big damage reduction on magic damage. Alright, changes to ordinary abilities. First of all, our mastery has changed. It went from just increasing shadow damage to increasing shadow damage and minion damage. This is absolutely huge for single target. Shadow damage used to not be that big of a portion. Shadow damage plus minion damage though, that's a huge portion of our overall output. This is a very big buff to mastery, and it's going to be the best stat in both single target and AoE. In the pre-patch, we got the Magus of Dead trait, which actually now double dips on mastery. Mastery increases both the shadow damage it deals as well as the overall damage it deals. So you get double effect, making Magus insanely good in the pre-patch. Sudden Doom, this now affects Epidemic as well. Lovely change, great for AoE. We have a change to Outbreak. It used to apply a debuff to the target, which applied Virulent Plague every second for 6 seconds. It's now just Virulent Plague when you press it, nothing else. This is quite important in AoE. When your tank brings all the odds together, if you apply it too early, you don't apply it to everything, so you sometimes need to wait or apply it multiple times. Furthermore, the duration has been buffed from 21 to 27 seconds. This is actually an overall duration nerf. Previously, you had a 21 second base, plus 6 seconds on a debuff, plus a pandemic on top of that, which meant that you got 33.3 seconds. So it's actually overall a 6 second nerf to Outbreak, or the Virulent Plague duration. It does Pandemic at the moment, so in Shadowlands pre-patch you can reapply Virulent Plague when there's 30% duration left on the old one. Scorch Strike has been nerfed to only hitting 5 targets in your Death and Decay. This is actually not that bad for us. We can still... It obviously deals less damage and scales much worse, but popping wounds isn't too much of a problem. If you pop down 6 Scorch Strikes in a big pack, you still pop 60 wounds total, so it doesn't really hinder us much. It is a nerf, but it's not as bad as you might seem. Also, Bursting Swords has been target cap. This was done in conjunction with the Scorch Strike nerf. It now only hits 8 targets instead of 20. This makes it so that we scale quadratically up to 9 targets linearly afterwards. Previously we scaled quadratically up to 21 targets and linearly afterwards. Thing is, a lot of specs and classes are getting target capped, as well as us, which make it so that these changes are not as bad relative to everything else. We will still be the kings of AoE, we can still build an insane amount of wounds, we can still pop an insane amount of wounds, or just blast everyone else. Unholy Blight saw lots and lots of changes. It used to just be an AoE dot. Now it stacks up to 4 times, deals increased damage per stack, increases minion damage per stack, and applies Virulent Plague. So there's so many effects has been baked into this talent, which makes it also very, very good in the pre-patch. One thing to note, if you pick Unholy Blight for single target, you don't need to use Outbreak. Press Unholy Blight every 45 seconds. It gives you a Virulent Plague dot, which lasts for 41 seconds. So there's only 4 seconds downtime there, and it's not worth applying Outbreak in that little bit of downtime. So you can simply just press Unholy Blight on cooldown, and that's your Virulent Plague application. Obviously, if there's downtime, if there's new ads coming in, if something needs applying when you don't have an Unholy Blight ready, and if you can get a Virulent Plague dot lasting for like more than 10 seconds, use Outbreak in that case. Soul Reaper changed. It's now an execute. Really nice to get an execute, but we lost the resource generating, kind of. If the target dies during the debuff, you actually get rune corruption, but that's pretty much just refunding the rune you spent on the ability. So it doesn't generate excessive amount of resources. So not worth sniping mobs with this in Mythic Plus. Use when the whatever you're hitting will be below 35% HP within the next 5 seconds. So this often means using it at 36% HP if you're fighting a boss, depending on how quickly the HP goes down. We have Defile, seeing a small change. It now also ramps in damage as well as radius. Used to be only radius. Not too important, honestly. It's still the same niche it had before. Unholy Saltler change, it now deals damage when you use it and applies to wounds instantly instead of applying them with your auto attacks. This makes it more impactful to press, but it's used in the exact same manner as in BFA. Army of the Damned has a Magus attached to it, makes Apocalypse and Armor of Dead summon a Magus. This Magus is different from the Azerite Magus. It's much weaker, but doesn't interact with the Azerite Magus in any way. So, mostly a thematic change, not that big of a buff. Finally, we have Sack Pact. This is a new ability, but it's not available to us in the pre-patch. It comes at level 54, and it's mostly a thematic ability. Some more abilities that come when we level into Shadowlands. Dark Transformation, making so that your goal gains 100% energy when you use it. This makes so that we don't need to use the pool energy macro, but in the pre-patch we do need to use it. So only when you hit level 52, you don't need to care about that anymore. Apocalypse gives 2 runes. This is quite huge. Unholy does have problems with downtime. It's negated somewhat with lucid dreams, but you're still going to experience quite a lot of downtime. Apocalypse giving runes helps that a little bit, but it's still quite bad. Alright, those are all the changes I wanted to cover. Let's take a look at talents. What I have in front of you here, this is the Raid talent pick that provides the most amount of damage. All will serve, got buffed quite heavily because it's now affected by Mastery. Unholy Blight also got buffed, gives minion damage, also significant amount of damage on its own, as well as Virulent Plague, so that's also quite a good pick. Soul Reaper deals heavy damage, however you can actually pick Pestilent Pustules. I think these two are quite close at the moment. Pestilent Pustules will definitely make your rotation feel better, and it's also comparable damage output. However, Soul Reaper I think is the go-to one. Unholy Pact is just so much better than everything else in the row. It increases your single target output quite significantly with a 5% damage increase. The chain itself does damage as well, it's just much better. Armor of Damned. So this is useful for 2 reasons. One, it decreases Armor of the Dead cooldown. However, you might not actually use 2 Armor of the Damned in a fight if it's short enough. But it also decreases Apocalypse cooldown, and in conjunction with using Vision of Perfection, that's actually going to make your Apocalypse line up with Unholy Blight. And since Magus of the Dead is absolutely busted in pre-patch, this is very strong. You pick Armor of the Dead to reduce Apocalypse CD mostly, so you can time it with Unholy Blight. If you don't have any Magus of the Dead traits, you should probably pick Unholy Assault, but I assume lots of people have managed to pick up quite a lot of Magus of the Dead, so that's probably fine. For Mythic Plus, I recommend running the Rune build, at least for heavy AoE. Infected Claws, Bursting Swords, that's the core of the Rune gameplay. Pestilent Pustules is great for AoE, gives you lots of resources. Unholy Assault gives you haste, which scales nicely in AoE, as well as the extra runes, which is lovely. If you want to go for a more single target oriented build, Unholy Blight, Soul Reaper can be picked, also Army of the Damned if you want army for every boss, but generally I would still pick Unholy Assault because Unholy Assault is so good in AoE. Great. For rotations, let's take a look. I'm going to run the talents for the major single target build. It's actually simpler now compared to BFA because you don't have Unholy Frenzy / Unholy Assault anymore. We are going to pop off all our cooldown at the start, going to build up some wounds, pop down our Apocalypse, and then just build wounds, pop them with Scorch Strike, and spend Runic Power on Death Coil. As soon as you hit below 35%, you're going to be using your Soul Reaper on cooldown, pretty much. So make sure you always have a rune ready whenever that's on cooldown and the target's below 35% HP. To open a hair, we're going to start off by popping down our Army of the Dead, follow up by Unholy Blight to start stacking up that debuff, as well as applying Virulent Plague, 2 Festering Strikes into Dark Transformation, then Apocalypse, and then we'll just continue off with the normal rotation. So Army of the Dead, Unholy Blight, Festering Strike, Dark Transformation, Apocalypse, and then we just go into the normal rotation. Use Death Call with Runic Power, use Festering Strike to get runes on the target, and then just continue on. Great. As I previously mentioned, you want to time Unholy Blight with Apocalypse, and that's going to be possible if you run the Vision of Perfection Essence, which I highly recommend you do. Great. For AoE, it's a bit more complicated. I will showcase the wound build to start off with. This relies heavily on applying lots of wounds on the targets, popping down Death&K, and then bursting those wounds with Scorch Strike. I'm going to start off with Outbreak, follow up by Dark Transformation into Unholy Assault, and I'm going to tab through twice, pressing Festering Strike. I'm going to use up my Runic Power with Epidemic before popping down Death&K and spamming Scorch Strike. In our Death&K, I use Epidemic when I'm about to cap Runic Power, or if I can't use Scorch Strike. Let's take a look at what that looks like. So I start off with Outbreak, Dark Transformation, Unholy Assault, tab, Festering Strike, tab, Festering Strike, Epidemic, Death&K, and then just spam Scorch Strike. I'm using Epidemic to not cap, and then continue on spamming Scorch Strike. Right. That's going to be a staple opener in pretty much every AoE pack. If the AoE pack lives for longer, you might consider tabbing through multiple times, applying more Festering Strikes. If it lives for shorter, just go down in your Death&K window and just start applying those wounds instantly. Great. If the pack lives past your Death&K window, either consider setting up for a new one, or just go into a single target rotation and use Epidemic as much as possible. If you pick a talent combination which is a bit more single target oriented, for instance, if I'd use Unholy Blight and Soul Reaper, I would just open up with Unholy Blight and then quite quickly pop down Death&K. I don't really focus as much on spreading those festering wounds with Festering Strike. It's all about just relying on that direct damage to deal AoE damage. Great. So those were the rotations I wanted to showcase. Now when it comes to stats, in the pre-patch, you go Mastery, and you go Mastery Heavy. Your Magus of the Dead scales very nicely with Magus, with Mastery. It actually double dips, as I mentioned earlier, so Mastery is just extremely valuable, both for single target and AoE. Gem everything Mastery, try to get all the Mastery gear. That's pretty much the go-to. Alright, so now on to Azerite essences. As I mentioned multiple times, Magus of the Dead double dips with Mastery. Magus of the Dead is bonkers in the pre-patch. For raid, you want to do triple Magus of the Dead and triple Hard Darkness when possible. You can swap out some Hard Darkness to Festamite, works quite well as well, but I think the optimal setup will be triple Magus, triple Hard Darkness. For Mythic Plus, Festamite is much more important because it scales really well in AoE, so you go triple Festamite and either triple Magus of the Dead or swap in some Hard Darkness depending how much AoE you want. Hardest Darkness will give you more AoE than Magus of the Dead. Essences, your major is going to be Vision of Perfection for raid. As I mentioned, this Vision of Perfection makes so that Apocalypse can line up with your Unholy Blight, as well as Dark Transformation actually. It just provides so much synergy, it's going to be great. It spawns more Magus of the Deads, we love Magus of the Dead, so Vision of Perfection major. For minors, you run Lucid you run the Focusing Arrows, and you run Crucible. Those will be your best bet. For Mythic Plus, we swap up Vision of Perfection Major to Breath of... Oh, sorry. The Bloody Enemy Major. And then we keep the minus the same. And that's going to provide the most kind of... It's more versatile because it provides much more AoE. Finally, Trinkets. The go-to big trinket is going to be the Vita Shard Titan Shard. It's still very valuable. It's going to be your best bet. For the second one, you can go Vial of Animated Blood, gives lots of mastery. It synergizes very well with your cooldowns because the CD is 1 minute 30, which aligns well with your Unholy Blight and everything else. You can go things like Butcher's Block, you can go things like the PvP Medallion. Lots of good trinkets that give lots of secondary stats, really. That's going to be most useful for you. For Mythic Plus, I would recommend Vita Shard, Titan Shard plus Vial of Animated Blood. Those two is going to be a great combo, which will fit pretty much every situation very well. Great, that was everything I wanted to cover today. I hope this was a useful guide, that you learned something. And if you have any questions, please drop a comment below. You can always message me on Discord as well. I hang out on the Acros Discord. I'm more than happy to answer any questions. Again, thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for more content. Thank you.